Hello guys, Mr. Perrott here from the Geography Department, just to talk you through why you might want to choose GCSE Geography next year. I always like to start with this guy, bit of a legend, and geographers know a lot about him. So amazingly, he won the first US election in 2016 in which he entered. And nobody thought that was possible, but geographers kind of understood why it happened. Really simple, really. It came down to, as you can see, the fact that he won far more of the states than his rival Hillary Clinton. And when you look at the map like that, you can see that he won quite convincingly. How did he do that? Well, you can see that he won the central part of America and the south of America. And he won that based on two pretty simple ideas, both of them to do with geography. On the left-hand side there, you can see he appealed to the Rust Belt. These are people who had lost their jobs. They'd lost their jobs because the factories had moved overseas, a process we in geography call deindustrialization. So he told them that he would get their jobs back. And then he also told them that he was going to stop immigration because he knew that the guys in those states, they weren't big fans of Mexicans and the fact that Mexicans were migrating to the United States. So he said, I'm going to build a wall and I'm going to stop that happening. And of course, they all voted for him to do that. What did he do? Well, he hasn't brought any jobs back and he hasn't really managed to stop the migration particularly. But that didn't matter. He won the election based on his understanding of their geography. Second time, well, let's look what happened again. You can see that in the second election, he actually still won huge parts of those same areas. And you could look at that map and think, well, he should have won the election. But if you're a geographer, you understand some slightly different situations. I'm going to flip between these two screens here. And you can see that when we look at the population data, those states that he won this time, they actually have very low populations. The size of the circle indicating the number of people in that state. And because of that, he lost some of the big states. And as geographers, we know that that means that he loses the election completely. So why would you choose geography at GCSE? Because as you can see, it's interesting. It's all interesting stuff. And that's the great thing about our subject. When you become a geographer, it allows you to have a better understanding of all kinds of things that happen in this world. So what do you learn? Well, in the GCSE geography course, it's split into 3 units. Unit 1, living with the physical environment. So that's got things like tectonic hazards about earthquakes and volcanoes, weather hazards like hurricanes. We look at climate change. We investigate tropical rainforests and deserts and find out where they are and why they're like that. And then we look at some information on coasts and rivers as well. In that unit, you do an exam, which is an hour and a half in the end of year 11. We also do Unit 2, which is called Challenges in the Human Environment. And in that one, we look at urban areas such as Liverpool, close to home, and Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. We look at the development gap to see why some countries are rich and why some countries are poor. We have a look at the UK and see how the job market and the economy in the UK is changing over time. And we look at the resource management and how we manage those on planet Earth. And again, you get an hour and a half exam in that one as well. Finally, we do Unit 3. Unit 3 is all about applying your geography skills. That means we do some field work, and we do 2 pieces of field work, physical field work and human field work, and I'll talk about that in a second. And we also do something called issue evaluation. So that's when they give you some information about 4 weeks before the exam. We have a look at it in class, so we have a chance to talk to you about it. And then in the exam, they ask you questions based on the content of that information. So I said we did field work. Well, the good news is you guys have already done plenty of field work, but of course it's been virtual or remote field work done in the classroom. But if you take GCSE geography, we get to take you out of school for 2 days. So we take you for a day out of school to a river. We throw you in there, we get you nice and wet, you take lots of measurements for us. And we take you out for another day. We take you into the middle of Liverpool city centre and we do some work there. Both those pieces of work that we do, we come back to the classroom afterwards and we find out what we learned from that information. We then go into the exam and you do some exam questions at the end of year 11 based on what you learned in those days. We also do some good geography trips as well. So as well as our 2 trips to Liverpool and to the River Clydach in Wales, we also do trips as well. And generally we try and do 1 a year. We've been struggling over the last few years because of the situation with regard to COVID, but we would like to take pupils again to Iceland or to Pompeii and Vesuvius in Italy if we get the chance to do that. The other thing to think about is why you might want to choose geography for your long-term approach. Geography, the good news is considered a very high quality qualification. And many careers require 5 good GCSE passes, and geography is always within those 5. Geography is also a subject that widens your career options, as in it opens lots of doors for you rather than closes those doors. So if, like me, you still don't know what to do with your life and what job you might want, well, the good news is geography keeps those options open rather than closing routes off to you. You can use the skills that you develop in geography in lots of good jobs. The other thing to realise is the Russell Group universities, that's the best universities in our country, they love geography as a qualification. It gets you into lots of different university courses because they know that pupils who've got geography as their GCSE are a high quality candidate. We've got lots of transferable skills. And that means it's useful for any university course or career that you're thinking about. The other good news is that it's really good to have geography in terms of employment. They found that 5 years after graduation, employment rates for geographers outperform other subjects such as politics, physics, and history. And they've also found that geography graduates earn more money than graduates from other courses, men by 2% and women by over 10% more than average graduate salaries. So most frequently asked questions that people ask me when they're thinking about GCSE geography. Is it easy? Well, the bad news is it's not easy, it's tough. But I would say that all of the GCSE subjects are tough these days. Geography is no easier or harder than any of the other ones. How much homework do you get? Well, we have pretty strict rules on that. We set you the same amount of homework that you've had for other subjects. So that means in geography, you'd get set an hour homework every couple of weeks. What else can I do with geography other than teach? Well, as I've already said, geography opens up the doors for you for lots and lots of different career routes, and it doesn't shut any career routes off. Do we go on trips? Yeah, we go to 2 automatic trips that you have to do. They are compulsory to do the geography course, and obviously we try and do other things as well. Is there any coursework? No coursework in geography, so you would do three exams at the end of year 11. Will you have to learn maps and flags? No, that is very much optional, but we don't do any of that in class, I'm afraid. And finally, who will be teaching us? Well, we've got 6 amazing geography teachers, and you've got an equal opportunity to get taught by any of those guys. So if you've got any questions about our GCSE geography course, please come and speak to me at any point in time, and I will answer any of those questions, and I will hopefully try and keep you happy with that. Otherwise, fingers crossed, we will see you next year in the geography department. Thank you.